Okay, look, I remember my current partner, I had a whole room full of candlelights, and when he walked in, he says, "Are we load shedding, babe?" And I wanted to hide because I thought,
I just
yeah, because I really thought, did he really mean that in a consenting way, or did he really think?
Does he not get it?
Yeah, and he. But then at some point, you've got to want to meet the person.
Because it's all the way in Belgium and you're here.
Yeah,
so,
you've got to want to meet the person.
Yeah.
And yes, there is that whole risk of, because it's happened to me twice before where I've gotten in a flight and then the person didn't show up.
I think we agree, ladies.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
abanye abantu keep boxing gloves. So, if we all had a choice, we would not live in Penzola.
Yes.
We would have lived in Hyde Park. And
And
when
we
you were
were
in Hyde
like
Park,
Fonto.
right? So
We want to be adopted by your parents.
yeah. So
Wait,
Yeah.
before, sorry.
No.
You have to cut the host. The
no. Hey,
The liver.
Hi. Go ahead.
Billions.
You look bullion.
Hey!
Simnandi
What did you say? It's bully.
Welcome to Hot Seat with Penzola. Thank you so much for tuning in again. Guys, today's episode is so exciting. In the same way that I spoke to a group of men who were willing to chat to me and we really discussed we touched on every other topic that I felt at the time was important. I've now got a group of ladies because they also want their piece in the discussion. So I decided to put a group of girls together, and obviously, we are coming out of Women's Month, so I thought, why not just have ladies also to come and express themselves and share ideas, because I'm usually interviewing, one-on-one, and I think it's probably a much nicer and better conversation when there's a few of us. So ladies, welcome to Hot Seat with Penzola.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for agreeing. Wow, you were all on time, by the way. That's very unusual, right? So thank you so much. You're looking all gorgeous. Just as a welcome, there are drinks. Today's episode is sponsored by Billions, a very nice and enjoyable South African made gin. You are welcome to drink while we have this conversation. Yeah. So, as I was sitting thinking about how I'm going to structure this conversation, and I thought, why structure, right? Why not, let's just get some ideas, and I will also just refer and share some of the answers that I got from the guys, in the previous conversation. So I have a lot to ask you, so I had to kind of write it down, and I think the first one that I thought about asking was around finances in a relationship, right? So, how important is finance in terms of any relationship, whether marriage or a partnership, in terms of dating, and also, in that same mix, what challenges that are related to income that any of you may have experienced in terms of your partners? I'm going to start with Lisa. Talk to us. How important is the finance in a marriage, in a partnership?
Finances are very, very important in a marriage, in a partnership, even in friendships. Finance just plays a big role in relationships. So I think from my experience, I had to learn to be disciplined. I come from a career of accounting. So for me, it has always been, I have to try my best to look at every single thing that I do. Obviously, as you start your career, you become a bit reckless. You're thinking you've arrived, you are big in corporate, you're spending, you're opening credit cards and all of that. You are single, you can do whatever. And then once I started having a relationship, and then now this guy is talking about marriage. Now we had to sit now and I'm like, I need to now assess and see, where have you been misusing, where have you not having the discipline? And as a young woman, a young profession, I must admit, maybe I'm not the only one, or maybe I'm the only one who was just splashing money, But then when we went into marriage, we started talking, and I'm like, oh, this guy. At first, because I was still under pressure to say, oh, now I must reveal my finances. Now he must know what I'm getting paid. Now he must know where every single money is going. I was, at first, because of my tendencies, I felt like, this is too much. Okay, it's just, but as you grow and you learn that it's so important, and it helped me also as an individual to say, man, let me just see unnecessary things, like clothing accounts. Like I've learned now, if I can't buy clothes cash, it means I can't afford it for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me personally and my household, we don't have clothing accounts because those are one of the factor things and one of the big things that not paying attention to say when you're looking at your budget, like why are we paying close to 3-4K just for an account to back? Like it just didn't make sense for us, So those are one of the things that I had to sit down, get myself disciplined with to say, man, we don't need this, For me, it works. If I can't buy it cash, now it means I can't afford it, And I've learned that discipline as an example. One of the things that I can put on the table to say, just those small things. If you credit card, you don't need it, leave it. If you know how to manage it and to spend it wisely or to know how to allocate it, fine, do it. But if you know you're not an undisciplined person, like stay away from those things, If you don't need a credit card, don't go for it.
So you keep referring to yourself, your partner or your husband. How does that translate? What type of person is he in terms of finance? Are your financial goals aligned?
Our financial goals now are aligned. When we started in our marriage, I've been married 13 years, 12 years. 12, thank you, Doctor.
You spoke outside. You spoke outside.
I was like, how do you?
So as we started as a young couple, obviously we came from different backgrounds. Umuntu nomuntu was doing their own thing, and then we had to sit down to say, we want to build this thing called a marriage. We're going to have kids eventually. We want to be those parents that lead by example. We want to stay in a specific area. We want to try our best. Then that's when we sat down and writing down what is it that we have, being honest with each other, disclosing with each other, because now we're going to start buying a home, our first home together, so we had to sit down and align to say, let's fix this, okay, let's close this we don't need, we need as a family this, so we sat down, we put all our things, open plan, put it down, ungafihli anything, because those type of things, then at the end they come back to hinder, to say, but why unga disclose this? Why are we now?
Yeah, look, you're right. I think in theory that's the thing, right? We must disclose, and I'm wondering now how easy is it to do it when you practice it, right? So I want to bring in Samantha, right, to say how easy is it? Because it's one thing where we agree, you must declare, you must show the salary, and you must also show you bought groceries, you bought a pair of shoes. How easy is that? How do you as Sam align your individual financial goals to those of your spouse?
A tricky question. So when we got married 12 years ago, that's how I remember your years.
It's been that long.
12 years. So 12 years ago, obviously the financial landscape was different, and we were like tabalazing where umuntu akazi ukuthi okay, how are we going to bridge?
Correct.
And then there's like this 4 bright pack, and it's like, okay, let him have the nyama for the 3 remaining things, and then I'll step out of it, So it was that kind of thing, and we've grown in leaps and bounds, obviously, in differences in how we prioritize our finances. So we didn't have kids before, then the kids came in the fall. But I think it's helpful to have a partner that outside of the financial reality being there, he's able to aim. We booked our son's schooling like when he was 6 months old.
Wow.
And there's no way we could afford that at that time. But he's somebody that's very, there's a reason I'm sharing this, right? That has then necessitated or rather remove the need to know how much he earns, because I'm almost afraid, because given the scope of what he has to pay for, I'm
Avungwazi ukuthola malini.
no, I'm going whether
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but what we've done is that we've sort of ring-fenced responsibilities of what we need to do. So I know this is my responsibility, and then
I was good.
hey,
Mm.
hey. So of course it also doesn't help to be ignorant, right? But it's to know, because you never know what eventuality can happen, you know, and if you don't know, then it doesn't sort of help. But it's almost like how we've done it is to say, this is what's happening, this is the responsibilities. I'm just telling you, this is from my husband's side, I'm just telling you, I'm not stunting on you, I'm telling you so that you know what the full picture is. And then from a expenditure point of view, I've got my responsibilities, he has his, and then whatever else, if you're selling a 50 rand, we're selling 1,000, we do as we, and it's nice because we've got a different consumption preferences, you know, umuntu weGucci,
Okay.
mina ngumuntu we-art, you know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we also don't clash in those areas.
I
So
think
if-
what's,
It works out.
sorry, I think
No problem, go in.
what's so great about what you've said is every couple has their own style.
Yeah.
So there's no specific recipe, you know, this is the way to go. But I think what does need to exist within this unit, whether it's a relationship, romantic or platonic, our values should be aligned.
Yes.
You know, there should be certain things that are fundamental. This is my behavior or rather relationship with money. And if I'm going to get into a long-term relationship, I'm hoping there's alignment in as far as this is concerned. So in your case, you and your husband, that level of transparency is not necessary as long as everyone is taking care of their respective responsibilities. I think in my case, it's important to there isn't an element of competition.
Yes.
Because sometimes our earning abilities differ in
Yes.
different stages of our lives.
Yes.
And it's important to at some stage, if I'm earning more, he's comfortable with that, and the same applies to me. And we can quite fairly and equally share responsibilities. And when I say fairly and equally, I don't mean 50-50, but according to Amanda Way too.
Yes.
And the reality is, you know, we're probably the first of many in our families. The first to graduate, the first to live in the States, the first to do many things. And we have to take care of our family. So for me, it's important to in a romantic relationship, understands that I have to take care of my mom. You know, and so after taking care of our children, after taking care of my mom, I beg your pardon, after taking care of our family needs, there's still an amount of money.
Black tax.
I don't want to call it black tax, but it's such an honor, you know, it's such an honor for me to be able to give back to my mom. But there is that responsibility that exists. And I'm Funamuntu that will make me feel guilty for having to do that. Something else about me is when I'm down, I want to go shopping. And so I want someone that will allow me.
Am I the only one having a sip?
No, I'm happy.
I want to have the freedom to say, I'll have 5,000 rand that is for me.
So what happens if you are sad and what a shopper, Marana Chenet?
Then I can ask him if he has the means. Obviously, if the means are not there, they're not there. But I also need the freedom and the leeway to play around with my own money, to do the things I need to do, whether it's going to buy a pair of shoes or take myself out for a meal and not have to report back. But again, you know, that alignment is important.
Adding to what Tabi is saying, and maybe stepping back to your earlier question on what causes financial problems within relationships. And I'm speaking from a coaching perspective of observing the empirical view, is majority of the time financial issues come up because we are reactive. It's when we are in a marriage and we have to deal with the financial situations. right, versus being proactive. So for example, when we're dating and we're considering entering into a long-term relationship, do you know what my ideal life is? Because we all aspire to different things. You may be a couple, but if my partner is aspiring to stay in city or Blair Ethel, Gulf Estate, and I'm aspiring to Morningside, there is nothing wrong with the choice, but it means that our purview is different. Therefore, that conversation needs to take place on what is your ideal life, what is my ideal life, can we meet in the middle? Because if we know what we're working towards, if we know what this ideal life is, then we can talk about our spending habits. Babe, we cannot have Gucci's. Gucci needs to wait until we can afford that. But if we both are working towards different visions, then we have a problem. And for me, that's been my observation, that you have a couple that haven't even spoken about, I love what you said about you booked your child when they were 6 months old. But sometimes you have couples that are not talking about, as a mother, I want my child to attend private school. I want them to go to St. John. I want them to go to Crawford, right? And you have a father on this side who thinks, listen, public school is okay. So if we don't have one vision for this marriage, for this partnership, how can we have a financial plan and a financial direction? No, it's not. No, it's not a deal breaker, but you need to know where one person is, because we can decide staying city is too far, let's meet in the middle. But the conversation needs to take place for us to meet in the middle, and then we both charging towards the same goal.
I wanted to say something quickly. When you asked about this financial, the financial question you were asking, I almost had to, no, don't go there, but I'm gonna go there. For me, the reason why I haven't needed to know how much my husband earns is because literally, like something you said, I'll circle back to that. For me, it isn't about whether there's finances, whether I'm cooking, whether I'm mentioning, whether we're living in a car. For me, that's important. The principles and just understanding what we envision, and maybe it comes from my artistic side. You have an open canvas when you start the relationship, and what are the shades and the hues that we want to bring into this canvas to bring this thing alive, and that's why I've never known how much my husband earns.
I want to know.
Maybe I'm missing out on girlfriend allowance.
Yes.
But like for me, the things you highlight are important, because it's when we can say, so the private school or public school have never been a factor, but the school that he had in mind and that he had to convince me, because I came from a framework where I went to a public school and I turned out okay. Right? So he then had to highlight the principles and like the values that he wants our kids to have, and he sold me on it. I was like, I want my son to pull out a chair for a girl, and I want him to value religion. We are Christians, but whatever religion he resonates with, just like with whatever sexuality he chooses, you just open up a plethora of opportunities and
I want to bring in Ponzo a little bit here to comment on this topic and how you are experiencing it.
I'm listening to everyone and I'm going, oh my gosh, I hear what they're saying, and I should be doing that. I should be doing that. I think because of the way I was raised, I was raised quite privilegedly, so I never knew how much anything cost. And I think when the partners or people I've had in my life have always catered to my needs, that even in my current, I've never really asked how much anything costs and whatever. And because my partner has always kind of taken care of things, I'm still sitting. However, because of the size of the family now, this is the first time I have a bigger family. I'm a little bit nervous because I'm thinking, surely all of this can't still be taken care of the same amount of money that we, but I'm still not asking the question. And it's making me very nervous. I hear all of this and I go, I should definitely be asking. But no, maybe if I just keep quiet, money will come out of somewhere because we haven't needed. But what you said is that by the time I ask, I'll be proactive, Instead of me, I'll be reactive instead of proactive. So I should probably start being proactive now instead of reactive. Because if I don't start asking the questions now, we're probably going to hit a roadblock where we can't come out of. But I'm nervous as hell because I don't know if financial responsibility is thrown my way. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. That's the honest truth. I really am not sure what I'm going to do because I've never had to handle any.
Wow.
I can relate.
Wow.
No, I can relate. Because if you ask, it's almost like asking someone, how are you feeling? That's your cashwa tomorrow.
And then so
now I
So you don't want to ask because you don't want to ask because in case that I need help. Because now then you can't give me help.
Babe, I need 10,000 every month from you, and I'm gonna go.
But do you not? Let me just throw a question in there, guys. Do you not think that I'm just nervous by the fact that you are in this? I'm not gonna call it the dark. I'm getting nervous, right? But so what if the answer is I'm gonna need 10 grand from you every month, and then your answer is I don't have it. So what?
Yes.
Because I think it will seem very irresponsible to think, okay, wait, we have children, you have children, and we've been navigating this thing called babe, where the heck do you think you're going to retire? And I'm going to say, mommy and daddy, are you there?
Gosh.
So I think the nervousness is not being cognizant of the fact that I have to manage my finances. And I'm not a big spender. Make no mistake, I'm not huge on spending. However, because I've always had a family that took care of those things on my behalf, that if I need, and I've always worked on the principle of needing, not wanting.
But Poncho, and to your question, so what? I think that is at the center of how we react as adults, because majority of our values, our behaviors are driven by our background and how we grow up. You grow up privileged where everything was taken care of. So in your adulthood, the expectation is that something will be taken care of, versus someone like myself who grew up where, yes, both parents were working, but my mom was more the leader of the home, taking care of the finances. So for me, it's important that I know what is going on. So our background also plays an essential role to how we behave. However, for me, my concern, and you said you were worried, my concern is more on the husband or the partner, on how much of a burden are we by not asking the question and by not concerning myself by how much is how much does he earn, and how much responsibility does he carry on his back. And if we don't open up the conversation, that's where you find sometimes the house is falling apart, because he's carrying this burden of, I am a provider, therefore I need to make it work. Even when it doesn't work, he thinks that it's my responsibility as a man. And for me, that's why the conversation is important, because we don't want to wake up and we're women and the house is being foreclosed on and you didn't know. And you didn't, that's the danger for me. And I worry that we place an unfair burden on our partners and our men by shifting the responsibility, and we play this woman's card of, he's the man, he's the provider, but I'm independent. You can't have it both ways, right? You can't have it both ways.
You know what scares me about what you're saying? If I look at half of this room, we're on one end of the pendulum, where we're hyper independent, we're taking care of everything, and the other half is being taken care of by their men. And are actually able to meet each other halfway in relationships. How is it? I mean, I would love to be with a man that carries the load with me, where I'm not having to take care of myself 100%, and he's not having to feel like he's having to take care of the load 100%. But it seems as though, in general relationships, between Abafaz and Amadoda, we're not able to meet each other halfway financially. It's either the man wants to be 100% provider or is forced to be, or the woman is forced to be 100% provider.
No, but there's something very interesting that I can't remember her name, but she talks about courage and leadership. You know this.
Brené Brown.
Brené Brown.
Yes.
Yes.
Embarrassing not to remember.
No, it's
I
not
remember you,
embarrassing.
Brené Brown.
I'm actually reading a book
Dear
right now.
me.
Yes.
So for me, it's not even it's not even about not wanting to know, but I mean maybe like in certain situations, it's why maybe our men are suffering with mental health, because now you've got this responsibility where if I drop the mic,
This
like,
woman won't respect me.
you know, or like I drop my family, and
Then
it's
what's
like,
gonna
it's a
happen?
great responsibility. But unlike my beautiful
Sister.
I didn't grow up with money. Like I remember like a time where you know there wasn't much in the house, but there's always been love, and I think we shouldn't take that for granted. Because, like I was recently yesterday at a squatter camp, and you see the people are happy.
Yeah, they're happy.
Yeah.
You know,
But you must understand that
Yeah.
I don't know I can't, I can't comprehend between not having and having. Like for me, if you give me a slice of brown bread versus a croissant, for me it's the same thing. I don't, my parents didn't raise me to know money or didn't raise me to know money.
Yeah.
My life was my life.
Yes. But
When I'm thrown into any situation, I just
You adjust.
I adjust to that because I don't know any better. I
but
don't know
I'm
any
defending
better.
us.
Yeah.
I'm defending
I
us.
know.
Well, come with me.
Us artistic people.
No, come with me on this journey.
Together.
Because what my fellow gorgeous lady was alluding to here was that maybe your preset or your default of being taken care of is because you're taking. My daddy didn't even pay for my hair to the point that now I would never ask my husband to pay for my hair. I can't because I didn't grow up. You know, but what I'm saying is that the men sometimes create this comfort for you, and you're not gonna say no, baby, don't do it.
Yeah.
You're not gonna say
You're
no
not
to
gonna
it.
say no.
But Tabi, you asked a question, right? And I think it touches on what you're saying. You asked the question, where are couples that are meeting in the middle?
Yeah.
And for me, I think it is also about trust, right? Trust is huge in relationships. Whether we want to admit it or not, majority of us walk into relationships with our walls up, right? We are fiercely independent because you have to be in order to protect yourself, right? A man is providing and they are overextending themselves because of the need to prove themselves. So if I'm in a relationship where I trust that I will be taken care of, as an independent woman, I can relax and say, okay, Boo-Boo's got it. For a man, if he's in a relationship where he knows that he is seen for who he is and not as a provider, then he can relax and be able to say, babe, I need assistance with A, B, and C.
Yeah.
But if we don't have that foundation of trust that we can openly
Yeah.
talk to each other as a couple, that is why we sit in the extremes. We fiercely independent, they are over indebted, or there's an expectation men is a provider and the women are
It's
but
fear.
trust,
Ultimately,
Yeah.
it's fear. It's
So,
fear.
ladies, as part of just closing off that question, I mean,
There's a lot.
But guys, there's no hurry. I do want us. It's an important discussion, and that's why you're here, right? But I want to go back to. I don't know who's. I think it was you, where you were saying that where are the couples?
No.
It was you.
Yeah.
So I think they are there.
We are here.
They are there.
See.
So
You guys exist.
So I mean, from experience, I've been married for 16 years, right? So
Oh, it's been that long.
it's that long, and I can assure you, there is a level of. Yo, yes. I need help.
But you're talking, right?
Yes, yeah. So we're talking. You know, I'm not in a position where, look, I don't know. I can't tell you when there is money. I can't tell you what's in that, what the balance is in the account. I'm not really interested in that. But there is an element of, this is our financial goal. I've got this much, or like if we want to buy couches. The couches are 40 grand. I've got 30. Do you have 10? Then I give the 10 or 2, whatever. And what I find is that in the years that we've been together, right, there are times where it's rough for him or it's rough for me. But either way, God has always made it work in such a way that the other one helps the other one.
You carry each
Right?
other.
We
You
carry
can't
each
be in
other.
competition. You
No, we
have
can't,
to be in,
right?
Yeah.
So there's always those times, and there's times where I say, yo, I didn't pay this month, something, and then obviously it's like whatever. But as soon as I drive off, the SMS comes in.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right? So we do exist. We are there, and I do think that finances are an issue, and we must try our best to discuss the finance and understand, because I watch I watch a lot of local content. Since I make content, I really have spent a lot of time watching local content. And one of the shows where, if the husband dies, now the family comes and takes stuff. Hey, you didn't own anything, you never bought anything, and because you also didn't know where the money was coming from, you don't know how much. You're not there. You know what I mean? And we tend to believe that we're gonna live forever, and anything can happen today. So I agree with the fact that there's different levels, guys. If someone wants to take care of me, I will not say no, and I've never said no.
Yeah.
If he says you want that shoe, yes, by all means, I won't say no. But I understand what I need to bring in the table as well. So
And also understand the law.
correct.
I think for me, I understand the law.
No, of course, the law. The
That's
law.
why I have quite a lot of contracts in this.
You guys know how to protect yourself.
Correct. So that those other people mustn't come and claim, because the stuff is yours. And that's another thing, right? So the type of partnership you have, it needs to be defined clearly, so that you understand, Uti, if the person drops dead, where do you stand? And well, I know we're referring more to marriage, because that's where the complication
You
is.
spoke of partnership, so
Yeah.
we mustn't be too confused. Marriage, partnership, you can have a partnership without marriage, and you can
No,
have
you
a
can,
marriage.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it's
Yeah.
an official partnership versus mjolo is different.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right? So I know you're single. So what we jolla, humonati, and then
Kim Kato.
part-time jobs, So for you, the finance is not an issue, because right now whatever you have is
It's
yours.
mine.
Mara afita bras mangmang. Are okay. Mara understand?
But here's the joke, right? And I don't mean to divert the situation, just as an antidote of single women, because I'm single, right? And we've acquired. Yeah,
Why, you guys?
but I'm single, and because we're older, we've acquired some assets. And you
Yes.
were talking about family now.
Yes.
It's just an antidote
Yeah.
and a joke, because I have sisters and they're married, but my sister said, I swear to God, if you got married now and you think that your husband will take over my kids' inheritance, you have another thing coming. But it's like
So
family.
your stuff is your sister's.
It's like
your
they
kids.
already
They've
divided
already
the
planned for
assets. They've already planned for them. Yes.
But I think you're raising an important point of having a will.
Yes.
Right.
It's one of the things.
But that's the interesting thing, that the family also is not the male's family.
It's also the
You
women's
can't be a
family.
woman's family that
Because
will
the
come
sister's
back
like,
and
there's no
say,
way
listen,
these guys want to benefit.
listen, you came here like 2 years ago. She was ours.
I don't
Exactly.
Yeah.
Out of interest, do they have a stake in their claim?
Of course they do.
What do you mean?
They raised you.
No, then so
No, but you can't inherit stuff.
I
because
agree.
of your sister.
Well, for me, right? I think for me, it's different because I don't have kids, right?
Okay,
I'm single,
okay.
Yeah.
so
Right.
everything goes home.
Yeah.
listen,
Because
I'm
Oh,
going
to
to
the
give you
dogs
my
on the
number
track.
after this. It doesn't
All right,
have-
ladies. I think I want to now close off the finance piece.
Sorry.
No, it's cool. I think learned quite a few things.
Yes.
I want to move to another random sort of question. So I think before I do that, I'm happy that we agree and understand the different dynamics that exist. And I think we need to respect each other in terms of where we are, but also be open enough to understand the position you find yourself in and what is your plan should anything happen, because you've got to protect yourself, right? So that's it. But I'm going to move on to the next question.
Sounds fun, right?
So the last conversation I had with the guys, we deliberated quite a bit on what is quality time, right? You know, when you are dating or partners or married,
Gifts.
what is the definition of quality time, right? And the sense I got, okay, before I, maybe I shouldn't tell you what the guys said. So let's.
We
What does that mean for you, guys?
I think, first things first, I mean, one thing that my boyfriend and I are doing now quite a bit is talking about.
Of course.
Can I not have a boyfriend?
Yes!
I mean,
Oh,
Right.
yes, of course.
but we talk about our love language, because I love languages. Because I think that's the point of departure. Because mhlawumbe, quality time might be important for me,
Yeah.
but for him it might be physical
Spending
touch.
time or physical time. Yeah.
So I think I want to take the question a bit back and say, first things first, let's talk about what actually fills our respective cups. So that I know what makes him happy in our relationship and he knows what makes me happy. But in terms of quality time, I think for me what is important is the person really being present and mindful in doing things with me that I enjoy. So it could be that we're cooking in the kitchen together because that's what makes me happy. And mhlawumbe he doesn't like cooking, but sitting with me while I cook,
While you cook.
It's the
you
love
know,
language.
that feels like
Yeah.
quality time for me. Or watching a movie together because I'm a movie fundi. So it differs, but it's around communication and it's around alignment proactively. What is it that you enjoy and how can I show up in those things? In as much as mhlawumbe you don't enjoy it, but every now and then you show up because you know this fills my cup.
I think for me, I'm such a touch and feel person.
Yeah.
Like I am such a touch and feel person. That's my love language first, before the gifts and the money and everything else. I want to be touched all the time. I want to be, because it's when you touch me that you're gonna know what I'm feeling. Because I can pretend to be something completely different because I'm hiding away from how I'm feeling, because I don't want to affect the next person. But if you touch me, then you're going to know how I'm feeling. If you hug me, you're going to know how I'm feeling. So for me, touch and feel for me is very important. And when that goes away, then I know that we're moving apart from each other. When you stop touching me, when you stop hugging me, when you stop cuddling with me, then I know that we're moving away from each other. And perhaps, like you just said, you need to know the other love language of another person. And often I think the relationships I've had is that people have always learned my love because it's so easy. And in the beginning of every relationship, it's all about love. But that's probably not that person's love language. And when that goes away, then I feel like I'm being left behind. And that's probably why, some of my relationships have ended. But maybe they still wanted to shower me with gifts. But I don't care about that. I still want to be held and touched. And that's it.
How do you communicate that? Are you
say
explicit
I'm
about
very
them?
explicit.
I want you to touch me.
Everybody that knows me know that I'm like, I want you to touch me, I want you to hold me, and then they call me clingy.
And does that also lead to sex? Like, marakubamba ufuna aqhubeke or akubambe nje
It
kuphela?
depends where we are.
No, I'm just asking.
No, but it depends where we are.
Oh, okay, but it's touch and go.
Yeah, if it's just the two of us,
Touch and go.
touches and
Okay.
If there's a whole lot of you guys there,
Of course, it's just like
you guys have to go. But if it's just the two of us, let's go
Can
there.
I tell you something? I remember I dated a guy once, many years ago, and we were chilling with his friends, and he was in the driver's seat, I was sitting behind him, and all he did once is he reached his arm behind the seat and touched my ankle.
And that's it.
And he told me, just with that touch, when I see you, I'm thinking of you, I know there are people around us, but I'm with you. And that's filled my
That's
cup.
it.
Wow.
But adding to what you're saying, Tabi, the love languages. But I think for me, in addition to what you've both said, is somebody who allows you to be authentically you.
Absolutely.
Right? We had to put on a little bit of makeup. Where I'm a quite some of us, right? But when I wake up and I just wanna put sweatpants and a vest and I don't wanna comb my hair and or I'm driving and I'm blasting Ecuador, that there's a little bit of thuggishness that's coming in, Ikasi is coming in. Allow me to be me. And I think quality time, if quality time means you coming and then I need to dress up and then prep myself, then you're not allowing me to be authentically me. Just take me ngingagezile, ngingaqubile, take me as I am and enjoy my experience
In full agreement.
Akafuna ukuqupha lo.
And listen, if you've been single for more than 10 years and you by yourself, it's like,
Wait, you saying you've been single for more than 10 years?
We're not going to
let's move on.
Okay,
Let's move on.
That's
let's
another
move on,
topic for
let's
another
move on,
day.
let's move on.
Lisa, do you want to come in there on the quality time and how you see it and the love language?
I think I can take bits and pieces from what each and every lady said. I think for me, quality time is you being with me. For me, it's the presence, Asibe endlini, ukuthi lamaskopasi, like let's just chill.
Right.
Ibalana.
And
Let
just
me
to
see,
kiss each
us
other.
beg a movie. Let's random.
Yes.
For me, it's
Yes.
him being with me. It's him being home with me. For me, I'm more of a new home. Maybe clean. I don't know. Maybe they'll define it as a clean or whatever. But for me, equality time is my person being with me. Mangithi asenze so siyenze, I learned to love golf because I realized that that's what he loves. I would go walk 18 hole with a guy. I learned how to, to love
I hope
golf.
you're wearing your fitness watch.
You can make those things.
Right.
Yes, because I realized that is one of the things he loves. So I embraced that my husband is someone that loves sport. So me, in order also to meet him halfway, I had to learn, okay, in rugby, that way when we are together, he doesn't feel like, I wish one of the boys was around because Ulisa, she's not getting it.
She doesn't get it.
You know? So I made
Lisa
the
gets
point.
it.
Yes. Then I understand nicely.
Nicely.
And I made it a point because I realized that's one of for him, that is his quality
How
time.
beautiful.
You know,
That's so
It is
beautiful.
beautiful.
It
You know,
is
so-
beautiful.
those are
Literally,
one of
it
the
melts
things.
my heart. Yeah.
I literally, like the boys would injure me, because I was taking scores for the
Oh,
boys.
wow.
Like, I was, you know.
Oh, that's it.
Stop it! You're gonna cry, Lisa.
And
Stop
when I
it.
wasn't around, they'd be like, "How am she?" Like,
Yeah.
you know.
That's all I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
because I
Yeah.
would take the scores, and when
Listen,
someone,
I'm taking notes.
Right, me too. I'm going.
you know, and then
Yeah.
also he realized that she loves action netball. You know, over and above
And
anything,
then
I love action netball.
he's part
So
of it.
when
Oh,
states or whatever, he would come and he would come watch. So it's those small things, presents together, whether we are doing it at golfini or at bowling,
Wherever.
wherever. But as long as we are there, sometimes my
This is
husband
why
is
you
not.
guys make
He's not
marriage
someone
so
who
fashionable.
you know.
That's why you guys make marriage so fashionable.
And he's not someone
I
who
love it.
Yeah,
I
you know,
love it.
we can drive 8-hour
I love it.
road trip.
Yeah.
But because he's here, we don't have to say anything. And
When the
I'm
silence
content.
is comfortable,
But
right?
yeah,
It's-
But
it's-
there's
it's
something
not
that Penny,
awkward.
there's something that Penny said about you have to accept your partner as he is, and he has to accept you as you are. And I think a lot of the time we're constantly trying to change our people.
Yes.
So I like what you said.
You're trying to change the people.
Muto can be quiet, but you understand that's how he is.
And besides, motho o monyetse a le so.
Hey, o ka se mo
Pampiri e ka se
change.
mo change.
Exactly.
But
Sam,
Penny,
Sam,
sorry,
I
sorry,
just want Sam to
Penny.
come in quickly. Sorry, Bongi. You wanted to say something?
No. I was waiting for my turn.
No, it's your turn.
Yes, kid,
It's
it's
your
yes.
turn.
I
It's
want to call BS
Yeah.
on love languages
Really?
Oh wow.
because
Okay.
I get it to look at artists.
Hey,
Okay,
artist.
okay, go.
Me too.
An empty canvas. I don't know. Maybe it could be touch. Maybe it could be a gift.
It changes.
It changes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm not. I don't
It goes with the
gravitate to a love language, and I see with my husband, it's the same. He chips and changes, and sometimes he surprises me. He's like, I don't want a gift. Oh,
This
feels
is nice.
Yeah, but
You know?
I have to challenge you on being an artist myself. Is
Yeah.
that when you have sitting with the end, you know the starting point.
No, but
The
I
starting
don't
point,
know.
no, but you do. When the canvas is empty, you know what you've got. You first pick up your paintbrush.
Can I give you an example?
Can we just ask her to
Okay.
finish quickly?
Yeah.
Finish?
No, but I don't know my starting point,
Mm.
and I think I've had depression moments, né?
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I just want to end it. I'm like, no, I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Like, because I'm that kind of person. So for me, I don't want him. Sorry, I don't want him in my space.
That's not your.
No,
Mm.
yeah, I don't want it. No. And
That's
you guys,
her. Yeah.
You guys,
And I think to explain,
I
not
even
that
envy.
all the time. Maybe let me emphasize that. Not
Yeah.
being in each other's
No,
faces
no,
all
no,
the
no.
no.
no,
No.
but that kumbaya, ne? I love you guys for it. Like I see and I'm envious of it, but I don't want it because when he leaves the house, I'm like, yeah,
Me too. Me
Okay, but why is let's unpack that a bit further. Let's unpack that a bit further, right? So
Yeah.
why is it that when he leaves the house, it's like whew, a bit of a break?
Because
No,
then
'cause
I can just
there's no
do me.
judgment.
I can just
like,
do.
yeah,
Yeah, I could just literally. You can
Yes.
just sit there with
Yes.
with your empty thoughts.
Yes.
Because when he's around, you kind of have to
Yeah,
fill
because-
your thoughts
Yes.
with something.
And you must be
Yeah, even if you don't
around.
have to do it at the time that he's
Do you feel
walking
like you have to
around.
entertain him?
No,
Okay,
no,
so-
babe, it's like completely different.
So maybe let me
what
ask
she
it
said.
this
Like
way.
you could sit there and
Yeah.
look at
Maybe-
the sun and
do
talk to
nothing.
the sun and go, I
Yeah.
want to create you, but
Yes.
I want to show what right now. I'm gonna sit here for 2 hours and
Yeah.
think.
So
what?
maybe let me
and
ask
it's
this, right?
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe let me ask this. So I want to ask the question to say, do you then feel that when he's around, you've got to be a certain type of a person?
No.
Or
No.
is there an element
No.
of responsibility that
No,
when he's around?
I think it's the characters. It's the different characters. Like when you, I mean, I'm very like I can relate
to what she's saying.
Yeah, because I'm very artistic.
Mhm.
Yes, I don't paint as much as I used to and whatever. But my mind is very artistic, and I can literally sit and stare at a light for 2 hours. But I understand why I'm staring at it.
But he
But
doesn't.
somebody's gonna go, but we're wasting time. We need to be doing, and I go, but in 30 minutes. And they're going, but you've been staring at it for 2 hours.
No, you're on your own there.
No, you won't come into my space, but I feel like they're
Yeah.
probably saying that in the background.
Yeah.
Because you get asked questions like, what did you do, baby, for 8 hours? And you go, I worked.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but
you honestly
I
you go,
differ.
I worked. And then they go on, and you go, it's not ready yet.
No, but I differ.
And
in
that's
the
it.
sense-
It's not ready yet because
Yeah.
my mind is floating somewhere else where yours isn't.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can only be allowed that space to be out of sight of this normal world
Yeah.
when people are not putting pressure on me to be normal. No, not that my world is not normal. My world is completely normal. It's just that for
But it's
others,
the norm.
it's the
collective
norm.
norm.
Yeah, where you've got to be seen to be
Busy.
But wait,
Yeah,
I need
yeah,
to get this
finish-
because
get
I
that.
want my beautiful sister to say that she's bending.
Yeah, no,
has
she's
to say
bending.
something.
I see her next to me.
So for me, what I was articulating is our love language, and I think why I differ with this, my love language, your love language, is finding our collective love language, and I think that's powerful because I don't feel the need to go to the mall or to the shopping center and we're here. Let me compare the Royco and the Norox. Uguti, which brand? Yes, it's 2 rand less, but I understand
You get
why
it.
I'm choosing the 2 rand less. You know?
On your own.
And I think what I do very well as a wife is that, like, he can tell me today, hey, Sasa, I have to go to the UK. Or, hey, Mamela, uTrevor, funa sihlangane ngo-9.
No,
Like,
Trevor.
no, nje.
Yeah.
Random.
Joso.
He could tell me
Checking
about
the
Joso.
degrees of-
Literally, he could say, tonight I need to go to a dinner. Abruptly, I'm like,
Sharp.
enjoy yourself. And then as he leaves, I'm like, great, there was a book I wanted to read.
That's it.
Yeah. And
That's
then,
it.
oh, there was this. Like, we don't have to collectively
Do it
spend
together
time
all the
together.
time.
But what I think is
So, ladies, I do think that some of you need a refill.
Please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, but guys, are we gonna drive out
Can we
here?
get the tonic there, please?
Guys.